Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Tip of the Spear, a Veteran Roundtable. How is everybody doing? Let's do a round robin real quick and ask everybody how they're doing. Mr. Rich LaMonica, how are you, sir?
Doing great. It's been a busy, I guess, 2 or 3 months here in the beautiful borderlands of Kentucky and Tennessee between army training and storms and shit. So doing good today.
I was going to ask you, how did you fare in the storms just recently?
This last round, I did pretty good. One tree down in the neighborhood, but the neighborhood has a bunch of chainsaws now, so we were able to get the tree out and help each other out and get the thing out of here.
Nice, nice. Sis, Miss Tab Bartley, how are you?
I am doing pretty good.
Awesome. And you had some storms earlier today, and looks like you guys weathered the storm pretty well.
Yeah, we actually ended up, I was saying earlier, surprised because normally we lose power at anything. I think I'm still processing Memorial Day. Honestly, I had the privilege to go to the White House in Arlington, and I don't. I knew it would be impactful, but I don't think it would take me this long to process the whole day.
Oh, I guarantee it. I mean, just going to Arlington itself, even not on Memorial Day, it takes a while to process that, and I can only imagine how it was on Memorial Day, seeing all the families that come there, and seeing the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, the ceremony that they do there. Oh my, yeah, I can only fathom. I can only fathom.
It was the families and the young kids that I'm still processing, because every time I've been to Arlington, I just don't. People seem more like tourists than, yeah. So it's been a processing still. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Knowing that the Gold Star families that are there, and we talk about it on my podcast several times, that a lot of people forget about the families, and until you actually are put in that place. So yeah, definitely. All right, let's move on. Mr. Brandon Cooper, you are new to the show. Welcome.
I'm the F and G.
Yeah, you're one of the F and Gs.
Yep.
Well, introduce yourself and tell us about your day, and then we'll go to the next guy.
I'll start with my day here in the upstate of South Carolina. It's been beautiful. Somehow we missed all those storms, so we got lucky, but we got hit 2 weeks ago. So I guess tit for tat. Other than that, man, doing good. Dealing with some sleep issues, as most veterans do, but other than that, man, I'm just honored to be on the show. I'm just glad somebody gets to see me.
Well, introduce yourself real quick.
Oh, did I not?
No.
See, this is what happens. Brandon Cooper. I am on the board of directors of Heroes Voice Media Foundation, station manager for Veterans Voice Radio. Veterans Voice Radio. We have 3 stations, a rock, a country, and a mix. We play nothing but veterans and their dependents that are unsigned. We also have, we run MUPs, do the podcasting side, do all kind of stuff. And if you're trying to write a book, whatever, come see us at Heroes Voice Media Foundation. We got you covered. I'm working on the rock station right now on PC number 2. Listen, this is great. It's wonderful freaking music without all that corporate BS of the record labels behind it, and it's just pure, sweet, beautiful music by heroes. We stand on the shoulders of giants. Well, I get to listen to their music every day, so that's just a little. Oh, and I do paranormal stuff. I got a show, Shaman Sundays, every Sunday at 9 p.m. You can find me at Shaman Sundays on all the socials.
Nice. All right, Mr. Brian Roof, welcome to the show.
What's going on, everybody?
How you doing, brother?
Hey, bro, I can't complain. If I did, no one else would really care.
Right, nobody would listen to us. My wife usually
especially this panel right here.
Yeah, my wife normally bitching.
Right. Take a straw, suck it up.
So introduce yourself a little bit, and we'll go from there.
All right, yeah, my name is Brian Roof. I was born and raised in sunny California. So you guys talk about these storms and stuff. I don't know what that is. We'll freak out here if that happened. If we see white stuff, we don't know what to do. But anyways, joined the United States Marine Corps. Did 4 years. Was part of Operation Iraqi Freedom in 2003. When I got out, did 15 years in aerospace at Northrop Grumman. Working on the F-35 program, B-2, Global Hawk, targets, several different other programs. After that, ended up getting out, and I'm 100% disabled now since 2018. Started the podcast in last year, 2023, so about a year and a half now, and it's about the very
gist
quick
of it.
version. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Mr. Travis, welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Like I feel the spirit of Chesty around us.
Oh yeah, for
I
sure.
feel something in the airways and the radio waves and the energy. And I feel it. I feel it.
Yeah, we are
Somebody
definitely
feed me a crayon.
we're definitely Marine heavy
You know,
today.
bro? There you go.
We are
I don't
definitely
know
Marine.
what
Man.
crayon stuff is, but okay. But
Well,
know.
I could tell you that story, but Sis is up there. She'd have to close her ears. But no, introduce yourself, Travis, and we'll go from there.
Sure. My name is Travis Parrington, Marine Corps veteran. I was a radar operator for the Hawk missile system when I was in, and then I got out and did a couple of different things. I work in cybersecurity now. I started my show in 2016. I'm closing on number 400 in a couple weeks, and it's been a wild ride. Certainly, I've gotten a lot out of being able to do Oscar Mike Radio and get to meet people like yourself. And, for me right now, I'm kind of like Tabitha. A whole lot happened Memorial Day weekend. And on one hand, the ones we lose, the ones we buried during our service hits deeper. But for me, it hit a little harder because 2 World War II veterans that I had met personally and talked with and knew quite well passed in the last 2 weeks. So it hit a little differently. But, on the other hand, there's some people out there in our country who really are interested in the military experience and how they can honor, people during this time appropriately. So that's really cool to see. And then it's just really great to be on with you all tonight in this forum. I really like the way that veterans podcasting has grown over the last decade. It's really amazing, and there's plenty of stories. So I just encourage anybody who's thinking about doing this to get behind a mic and just start talking, because I'll close with this. I mean, I would love to have World War I stories. I never got a chance to collect those. So get on the mic, get behind the mic, get with MUPS, get with us. We'll roll heavy.
Yeah, definitely. And you are right. A lot of the stories, World War II, Vietnam, those stories are dying out because, we're losing all of these great people, great humans, and a lot of them are taking the stories with them to the grave. And we definitely need to highlight those stories. I was out working the other day, and the next door neighbor was mowing his grass at the job that I was at, and he had a Vietnam veteran hat on. That's all it said. It didn't say Marine Corps veteran, didn't say Army veteran, nothing. So when I got done doing what I was doing, he was now watering his flowers. I went over and shook his hand and welcomed him home, because anytime I see a Vietnam vet, that's one of the first things I say is welcome
Yes,
home.
sir.
They didn't get that. And I asked him, I said, well, what branch did you serve? And he was in the Marines. I was like, really? And this guy, he talked for a good 45 minutes. And he followed a home front sit rep. He added me on Facebook. I'm actually going to reach out to him here shortly and get him scheduled for the show to get him on, just so he can come on and tell his story, because he's like, dude, I got some stories that will make you cringe. And I'm like, I want to hear those stories, because it's, that's the old Corps back then. When we were in, I guess, who's the oldest here out of Marines here? You ain't the oldest, sis. I'm 47 or 40, getting ready to be 46.
I was in from 2000, 2004, so I'm pretty sure you're probably.
I was 97 to 04.
Yeah, I was 99 to 07. So yeah.
I'm the oldest then. I'm 95.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
but
Okay,
you,
there we
but
go.
you,
Grand old Marine.
yeah,
right
but
there.
yeah, but you come with like a voice for radio and a face for radio.
Yeah,
so it's
right.
amazing.
I don't have a face for radio. No way.
So,
Got
but
that voice though.
he does have
You
the
don't,
voice.
you don't need a face for radio. You know what I
That
mean?
was
You
the,
need a
that was
voice.
the joke. That was the
Oh.
I
Oh.
got it. I got it.
damn jarheads. God bless. I'm gonna draw a picture. I'm gonna mute my mic.
I need some more crayons.
Yeah, we need some more crowns. I got a whole bag of them in my unicorn bag down here. Y'all can't see that. I got it hid.
I need to chuck a few
but
rippets
no-
to get the airwaves
What-
going.
What's that, Rich?
Drink a few rippets, get everyone's brain matter going.
There you go. There you go. But no, so yeah, he's definitely old school, old school Marine. When I went in 97, they had changed a lot of the, the hazing policy that the drill instructors could do and stuff like that. And so, definitely get his story on and
Rules may have changed, but that doesn't mean they did.
Right. No, I agree. We still seen some shit that probably shouldn't have been seen back. But anyway, we ain't getting into that. That's here nor
Right.
there. I made it through. So everybody, if you're new to the show, not talking about the host, but people out there in YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever you're watching from, what the tip of spear is, we get together once a month at the end of the month, last Wednesday of every month, and we talk about anything going on globally. And then we also talk about whatever's going on within the veteran and military communities. So one of the stories that I want to bring up, and Brian, this will probably reach into you a little bit, was an F-35 crashes outside of Albuquerque Airport, pilot in serious condition. First off, I want us to pray for the pilot and his family to make sure he pulls through. And our F-35s are is it two people in F-35 or is it just one?
Just
Yeah, I'm
one.
pretty sure it's one.
one.
And what do you know which variant? Does it say which variant? There's like three different ones.
It's an F-35B Lightning.
Okay, so
2.
that's the Marine Corps one. That's the Stovall unit. Yeah.
Okay. It says an Air Force test pilot was sent to the hospital in serious condition Tuesday afternoon after the F-35B Lightning II. They were flying. It says they were flying, so it sounds like it might have been two people in there.
Must
Yeah,
be
I
a
think
trainer then.
Yeah.
Maybe. Crashed near Albuquerque, New Mexico. Service officials and the aircraft's manufacturer told military.com. Several fire departments responded to the reports of the crash just before 2 p.m. Said Albuquerque Fire Rescue said that the pilot of the jet was transported to the local hospital with serious injuries. That's pretty much all it gives on military.com about the story. I guess we probably could have got more in there. I guess there's more in there. So what do you think could have caused that plane to crash? Do you think it was pilot error? Do you think maybe bird strike?
So I could tell you this much, especially with the Stovall unit, that's been one of probably the most complex builds there is, because that's the one that does the vertical takeoff and landing. So weight and all that stuff is very much of a thing. The F-35 program is very unique because of how fast they would get units out the door. So they in turn, they're pumping out so many units, they're not able to keep up with testing, right? Like, so now I promise you this will be AOG, which means aircraft on the ground, and they will ground every aircraft now due to this, and they will go through everything and figure out what happened, why, whether it was pilot error, whether it was functional, all those type of things. I mean, there's this thing will be majorly investigated, and they will not be doing any more flying until there's an answer.
Yeah, definitely.
Looks like it was a test model that was being delivered.
Yeah, and we actually keep so much documents and everything like that on file. There was a point in time where they had to weigh every single piece that would go onto the actual aircraft. So what happens is where I live here in Palmdale, California, we built the fuselage here, and then we shipped the fuselage over to Fort Worth, Texas, and that's where they actually made it up. Then I think they do a lot of testing in different locations and things like that. So how they were in New Mexico, that's kind of odd because I know a lot of it's done out of Fort Worth, unless they were flying over that way and then the accident had happened.
Well, it says the jet was en route to Edwards Air Force Base in
Oh, so it's coming out
California.
to me. Yeah, that's where I
So
live.
it was coming from Fort Worth, Texas.
So yeah, then they were taking it back to Edwards Air Force Base, that's where we do a lot of testing here. There's a whole test facility here, which are Northrop Grumman employees plus also Air Force, and I believe there's a Marine squadron out there as well.
Okay. Yeah, it
But-
said it refueled at Kirkland Air Force Base, and it crashed shortly after refueling. So, yeah, no telling. I want to give a shout out. This guy right here is a Marine Corps veteran as well. His name's Ryan Woodfield, aka Theory. So he just recently was signed to a record label. He's a rap artist, and his music is phenomenal. I've seen him live in person. I just want to give him a big shout out. I'm going to have him on the show and talk about his music, and hopefully I can get him to write a new jingle for Homefront Sit Rep. And I've already talked about getting him hooked up with Brandon.
Yeah, get him on, man. I need some rap
guy.
on here, man.
So
yeah, we got to switch it up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna get Ryan hooked up with you, Veterans Voice Radio, and get him on there as well. So yeah, that's one of the stories. So we'll definitely pray for the pilot. Definitely pray for him and his family. Make sure speedy recovery and everything. And then another story that I want to talk about. Let's see if I can pull it up.
Hey, while you're pulling it up, Willis, I just pulled
Go
up
ahead.
Military Times. And
Yep.
the very first, this is just the name of the article. VA says its trust scores among veterans are the highest they've ever been.
That's interesting.
I don't think
that's
so.
like that they think they said the number is down to 17 now too.
Yeah,
28 to 17.
yeah, that's I not where I live.
Well, even if that's the case, you look at how many minority veterans aren't within the VA healthcare system at all. Like, for example, Indiana has, I think, over like 55,000 women veteran, and only like 27,000 are in the VA healthcare system in any capacity.
Yeah.
So how much weight does it really hold when you're missing so many veterans?
So much data, yeah.
And that's a good point. That's a good point.
Who did they actually ask? I never got asked that question.
Right, I didn't either, and I've had good and bad. Like I'm always fair, and like I've had very good and very bad.
Right.
But when you're missing so many veterans and so many,
well, you just got to be real about it, right? And they that's the part
Yeah.
is they're not capturing 100%. It's probably a very small population of people take it, and then they try to say, well, this equates for everybody.
They only polled 38,000 veterans.
But do you know how many veterans won't do the surveys when the VA sends them to them? You know, many veterans told me, I'm not doing that survey, and I'm like, I want to grab you and say, you idiot! Every number counts. So a lot of us, that mail comes in the thing from the VA. If that's not money, toss it, or it's not free.
It's the bad relationship, and the lack of trust, and they think that there's something else behind that. Usually, you know what I mean? Like, well, there's pride in my life. I got friends like that think that everything is being, tapped or whatever. Like, bro, relax. I mean,
no, I'm like Tabitha. I've had some, very, very, very good experience with the VA. Highly recommended over civilian care. My comp and pen, I have some questions about. I don't know how you can take a tape measure and decide that an injury 20 years ago was not caused by
military service.
Right. But a tape measure is right. But that being said, the care I've gotten has been second to none. So, but you got to do the survey. You got to do the survey when they send it to
helps. I mean, and just be 100% honest too with it, and because the only way we're going to actually be able to improve some of these things is being real and just putting out there exactly what we're experiencing instead of just trying to sidestep it or not do it, or we want to fix the problem. we got to be part of the solution. You know what I mean? And let's face it, a lot of us, we're not getting younger, right? And we're going to be that elder veteran that needs help. We need the assistance. We got to fix that self for us, right?
Yeah.
We got to start making sure that these facilities, they're equipped to where you would be feeling comfortable yourself to live there. You know what I mean?
And it's so much driven by the state and local politics. I think that's what a
True.
lot of us kind of maybe don't realize or put two and two together. Your experience in a state can be so completely different than another state, and they don't communicate with each other. For example, I'm
Right.
in Virginia. Richmond is my primary. And if I go to do anything in DC, because DC has more accessibility when it comes to like neurology stuff, they literally can't communicate, don't communicate, and aren't on the same system. They are within like 60 miles of each other. Okay, a little more than that, but it's 60 miles
Right.
either way from me. And yet they have no communication with each other. Wild.
So why does the VA not communicate? So, like, let's say I'm in Kentucky and my primary's Stony Brook, where I go, or Zorn Avenue, and let's say I go down to Florida, and while I'm there, I need emergency care. Would they not talk?
Well,
So it's just that
emergency
they're
side
not the
will
same.
take care.
Yeah.
state to state, just think about it, dude. State to state laws are different too. You could go to one
Correct.
state, go smoke weed, go buy a ounce, go to another state, do that, and go to jail for a long time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like state to state, that's the problem. We all operate under one flag, one nation, but the thing is we're not the same, right? Like you go from county, you could go from be in the same state and go from a different county to another county and it be completely different. You know, and that's the hard part, is that we do need to get more of that level playing field. Like we need to, treat it as, hey, we need to start getting to that level where everybody's treated at equal. We want to be equal. We want to be one nation. Well, we got to get there, right? Instead of everybody comes down to the politics. And that's what it really boils down to at the end of the day, is politics. Who's in charge, and what narrative do they want to push, or what things do they want to push on everybody? We, the people, have lost ground, right? And that's where I think we got to try to gain ground back so we can be a change. We can't change nothing when we allow our government to control it all.
Yeah.
And then we're getting to that level where we're being controlled.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the issue too, is like, again, Indiana, because that's my hometown and where I moved back to when I left the Marine Corps. It was so like the state would seem like, oh, this is federal, when they were the ones running the things. It's their operation in the state. They're the ones who do the state nursing home. Like they're in control of all of that because it's perceived as federal. They very much use that as a way to like not actually do things, or to like, push off, or to play the partisan game. And I'm a completely like anti-party. Like I don't think anybody should have loyalty to a party.
Yep.
Because you then have loyalty to a party. Like it doesn't make sense to me.
Right.
But then they use that play of, like you were saying, of like, well, do this. And especially when we're looking at like election year and all of that type of stuff, man, you'll see all the dog and pony shows. All of them.
Which is why those stats
A lot of stuff come out of the
And I was about to
woodwork.
say, which is why the stats were probably just pushed out.
Oh yeah, 2020. Yeah.
It's like Willis, you said you go to Stony Brook up there, right? For yours.
Yeah.
That probably falls under, say, Louisville or whatever major town is there, is the actual VA hub for you.
Yeah.
For me,
Yeah.
it's Nashville. So Nashville covers most of Middle Tennessee, but you have all the satellite little clinics around here. They all talk. But if I went to Memphis, which has their own little hub there, they don't talk to each other, the two hubs. Or Knoxville doesn't talk to Nashville. So that's where the talking has to start. It's not really that it's a bureaucratic, it's a systems of systems are not talking to each other.
Yeah, they should though. That's the thing. It's still
There's
all
a lot of
tri-tier.
bureaucracy there, though. I
Yeah.
mean, 100%. There is that part, because it doesn't got to be that hard, especially now. We got electronics that could, AI and stuff that does things for you. I mean, it's not that hard to be able to communicate and be on the same page and treat each veteran the same, give each veteran the same care, right? If it's being offered over in this state, well, why the hell is it not offered in these other states?
Yeah.
And
Well,
especially
the VA has the VA has chewed me out because I live here in the upstate. Well, I go to Asheville, North Carolina, for my VA because here it's Columbia, and I would, if I died in the Columbia VA, I would come back to life, get up, walk out, and die in the parking lot. But sometimes, like if I want to do eye care, there's a CBOC right down the road. I'll go do that, but then I get yelled at by Asheville, and they're like, "You can't do that." I said, "I will," because I served this entire country, and I got into a huge argument. And they're like, "No, you have to come up here. So you want me to drive an hour and a half to do labs when I can go do labs 15 minutes down the road?" I was like, "Hell no, that's not going to happen." And until more I'm getting fired up. Sorry, this whole VA thing fires me up. And until more veterans just start standing up for their own rights, the states and the catchments are gonna, do whatever they want because that's how they get their federal money into Columbia or
Well, that's why it's
into
all
whatever.
state driven, because it comes from state funding, right? And then it depends on what your state's fighting for up at the hill too, on what percentage of the cut do you get out of it, because there's 50 states that gotta amongst whatever. So they're like, hey, here's the budget for veterans. You got to split this up amongst your places, and some of them are like not worth fighting for, or they'd rather fight for something else, and that's the thing. And that's why it does vary from state to state. And that's why I say it got to get more to that level of, especially in the veteran realm, of universal, where it's all one playing field. And because, here's the other part, right? You start hearing from your buddies that they're getting this and they're getting that. And you're like, oh, sheesh. And then you go to try it, and then you're getting denied. Well, that starts playing on your mental health.
Yeah.
Then you start getting, like, gosh, damn. Then you get denied. And then all of a sudden, after like 2 tries or 3 tries, all of a sudden it's the mysterious, oh, you've been approved. Like, gosh, damn. And you ran me through the ringer, bro.
I'll say this real quick, then I'll just back out of the conversation because I get heated. But okay, 7 years ago, I put myself on the burn pit registry, right? Last month, they called me after 7 years. And because, and come to find out, they ended up bumping me all the way to the upper echelon because of my lungs, like to DC, to risk. So, but you were saying, personal opinion, y'all were waiting on me to die before you checked in on me. I'm sorry. I'm going to step away now.
So what we gather from this is like, okay, so I'm just now going through the VA. Like I started it at the beginning of or at the middle of last year, and so I'm going through the process now. I've had my good visits and I've had my really, really horrible experience as well. So there are things
in the process.
It's been fun, let me tell you. But like I said, I've had my good visits and I've had my really shitty experience as well. But overall, my overall experience with the VA has been pretty easy so far. Like I said, there's a few hiccups here and there, but they got worked out. And so, positive, on a positive note, the VA is doing, it is dependent on your state by state. Some states are better than others, but overall the VA is doing the best they can with what they're allotted to do or allowed to do within each state. So, yeah, let's try to keep that. I know everybody gets heated on the VA because everybody has their own experience with the VA, but
it definitely, for me, I'm not bashing the VA. Definitely for me, I'm not bashing them. I just know, because I honestly, for me, everything went pretty well after everything went well, right? It was the problem of getting denied, and having to fight, right? I'm like, gosh, damn, bro, like we got to fight. And honestly, if it wasn't for my wife, I probably wouldn't have even gone down. I probably wouldn't have even been where I'm at today, because she's the one that kept pushing me. Because I don't like rejection. I don't like getting, told no or something, like, it's just deflates me. And she's just like, no, it's fine. We'll just put it in and she just kept doing it. I was like, fine. All right.
Yeah.
But, it just sucked that we had to go through that process of over and over again.
Yeah. My wife is the reason why I'm going through, after 15 years, of her saying, "Hey, you need to go to the VA. You need to go to the VA. You need to go to the VA." And then starting this podcast, and I'm telling other veterans, "Hey, make sure you go to the VA. Make sure you get everything that's good to go and stuff like that."
Documents why you're in
Yes,
100%.
make sure everything's documented. Don't worry about being a sick call bandit, because I know that's still a thing. Make sure if you get hurt in the military, make sure that's good to go and it's in your records. So yeah, Andrea Noble says, "Hey y'all, we interview so many individuals and the takeaway from the VA is about 50-50, positive to negative." And you're probably right on that. It is probably
Yeah.
50-50.
Seems legit.
And I think, like Tep said
You talked-
earlier, it has a lot to do with your state and what your experience is, and everybody's going to be different, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and have a different
It all,
experience.
it all
Yeah,
goes
and-
back to that survey we talked about in the beginning here. You said 3,000 participants in the survey. If your state has 12 people participate in that survey, that's 12% of the money is going to go to your state. So it all comes down to data-driven money. It's not state funded, it's federal funded, but your numbers in those clinics in those offices is what makes that funding go. So if you don't go to the VA and you're going to somewhere else, it's not going to get funded. So a New York VA, or let's say I'll use Nashville because it's the biggest one near me, they get funded huge. So we get a lot of things here. We also are right in Vanderbilt. So that helps us out a lot for medical care. Other places don't have that. When I was in St. Louis, I was at Jefferson Barracks. I got good care, but it wasn't as fast as it was in Nashville.
And I will say too, when we look at like minority veterans, rural, it gets a lot. It's just not as good care. Like that's just the reality. You're traveling more, you're experiencing more. And then like, I will say one thing, I was very surprised with all my issues in the VA in regards to being a woman and all my experiences of like, my gender never mattered as much as it did in the VA when I got out. 8 years in the Marine Corps, my gender did not matter as much as it did for the VA for some reason,
Right.
which was just baffling. But the maternity care was the easiest thing ever. I called somebody and was like, "I'm pregnant. This is my 4th pregnancy." And they were like, "Well, you should know you're pregnant then. All right. Where do you want to be seen?" And I was like, "What? Yeah, who do you want to be seen by?" And I was like, "Oh, okay. I don't even know how to operate." So what I will say, when it comes to maternity care, I have heard way more positive, not for women's care, but specifically when it comes to the maternity. But that's because they just filter it out. It's not actually through the VA. They just pay the bill. And the actual, person who's pregnant gets to choose where they go.
Nice.
And you brought up rural care and stuff like that. I'm looking at the numbers right now of there's an epidemic among Native American veterans of unaliving themselves that has come to a like horrible proportion. Oh, and and we could
Something,
get
of
into
course,
all
we
that
don't
too.
ever hear about.
Right, you're not going to.
Right.
I mean, healthcare on reses are horrible enough, but we have a history of giants in the military that were native, the code talkers.
Yep,
I mean,
Navajo
on and
code
on and on.
talkers.
Yeah,
They won the war. We would
right.
not have won if it was not for them.
What's
Period.
happening? We maybe a podcast for another time.
Well, them and the
So-
nuclear
so-
and the atom bomb.
You
kind of
pretty
wormhole.
get deep on that one.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Travis?
Yeah, so one thing I tell people is, look, the old adage is true. All politics is local. You're not going to get the advocacy at the state level for federal resources unless you vote locally. And this is where, I'm like, hey, if your local state representative, your local mayor will not advocate for you, they don't deserve your vote. And, don't tell me your vote doesn't count, because it does. And we have to support those, elected officials who are going to advocate for us. But it starts locally, because it won't bubble up to the federal level and come back down unless you have somebody beating the drum, willing to sponsor the bills, willing to take the water and carry it for us. And the thing is, the honest truth is, people forget they work for us, not the other way around. I mean, I know we pay our taxes. I mean, I'm in Massachusetts for a reason, but They work for us, and there's nothing wrong with us being vocal and demanding that they take care of not just us, but the brothers and sisters around us who are struggling, trying to figure out how to get through life because they got injured or need housing. Housing is a big issue up here. But I tell people, start with your local mayor and selectmen, work your way up to your local state and senator reps, and then on the federal level. And let them know that if they don't come to play ball, you will not vote for them, and tell their friends. And let me tell you what, you write 50 letters to a politician, they'll get their attention real quick. So
And
we
you
have
can see, sorry,
no, go ahead.
As
Go ahead.
you can see their actions. Their words do not matter. It's what they actually vote on, and you can see all of that. That's their actions. Every other lip service does not matter.
Yeah.
Their
Don't
party
forget-
doesn't matter. All of those things do not matter if what they're voting does not match.
See, the problem is, Travis, though, is that they're starting to silence people by fear, right? And that's a reason why a lot of people don't stand up and start. I think we, the people, have started to lose our ground because we're afraid. We're afraid to go stand up because, in some ways, some laws are put in place to where if you try to fight, you could be known as a domestic terrorist or something. I mean, there's so many laws that have been put in place slowly but surely. Laws have been passed without us knowing throughout the years, and we've slowly but surely lost a lot of our power, right? And I think we've put too much power into the government, too much power into the presidents. All these things, we've given them too much power. We got to figure out as a people, how do we get that back?
Well, here's my thing. I was EOD, and I know for a fact that I'm on watch list. So why is the government going to train me to do what I need to do, and then as soon as I'm out, now I could be a potential problem? I've actually had issues, not many, but every now and then just to fly. And I started this dumpster fire. Let me see if I can put this dumpster fire out. Another article is the World War II ace, Richard Baum. He was an amazing fighter pilot. They just found his plane.
They just found his plane.
Yeah.
Wow,
Oh, that's awesome.
that is amazing. What are they going to do with it?
The explorers right now, they're trying to figure out how to get it up and
Ship to
verify
Ukraine.
via VINs and whatever. So
Wow.
It'll be in Ukraine in a few weeks.
If they could get it back up and flying, absolutely.
Oh, heck yeah. So here's another story that I thought was friggin' kind of funny. Here I'm just going. North Korea flies trash balloons over the South as leader Kim doubles down on satellite ambitions. What what in the Sam redneck kind of stuff is that? Where they're flying
So
trash balloons with fecal matter?
you're
That's
telling
some
me
South
shit
Carolina
is
stuff right
literally
there.
flying. Shit
Yes,
is flying
shit
in
is
there.
flying. Um,
Dang.
So this is
That's deep.
so this comes from the Associated Press, published May 29, 2024 at 6:11 a.m. Seoul, South Korea. North Korea flew hundreds of trash carrying balloons toward South Korea in one of its most bizarre provocations against its rival in years, prompting the South's military to mobilize chemical and explosive response teams to recover objects and debris in different parts of the country. Now, one of the other stories, not from military.com, but said that there was fecal matter in these balloons as well. So shit was actually flying, and the South Korea had to mobilize their military because they thought it was going to be chemical or explosive in the balloons.
And
How crazy is that shit?
Well, it just
Bro,
turned
there's
out
a
to be a
video.
shitty situation.
I'm watching it. There's a video. It literally looks like it's two balloons carrying some a bag of something. But there's literally a video of them sending them over.
Who let
Oh,
the PFCs decide how that was going to be handled? I mean, this is the Lance Corporal
Right?
Underground if I've ever heard
Heck yeah,
it.
E4 Mafia right there.
Oh,
That's
hell
one
yeah.
way to bomb South Korea.
Imagine police calling that
Honestly,
area.
in the bag, it's kind of small. I mean, it just that looks such a.
That's because they're all starving. They don't have enough food to fill that bag.
But you can look at it as this: they just sent what you said hundreds over. They looked at South Korea's response to trash and shit coming over. The next time they
Yeah.
send it, it won't be trash and shit. It's going to be bombs or something else coming across. So they'll see how to
True.
react now.
Oh, they straight up got like the bomb squad out picking up it and everything. Oh wow.
Yeah, that's
Well, this
That's
is
crazy.
this is the interesting thing about warfare. Like we have on one spectrum the F-35, an advanced fighter that's like approaching 150 mil a copy, but people wrecking havoc with shite-filled balloons. Somebody was paid to stuff that balloon full, make sure it floated, and then send it on its way for a couple of bucks. Who's
Mm.
actually causing more tear? I know the F-35 is an awesome plane. It replaced the Harrier, great, but I mean, balloons, dollar for dollar, are doing more.
Or hey, gliders. They sent gliders and stuff, over
Yeah,
where
in
was
Israel.
that? In Israel, yeah, they sent gliders and I mean, yeah, we spend millions and billions of dollars on these planes, and these guys got these little garage fixes.
Do you think though that this is like a warm up for like the real thing? Like they're kind of dialing
They might
in
be testing stuff. Yeah, they might be
Yeah.
seeing how they react,
They
seeing
always
what
test the folks
does
there.
when seeing how far it goes before it's even detected or something.
right.
I mean, just
right.
like that China balloon that flew into the U.S., and made it, through the Midwest and all the way out
all
to
the
the
way-
East Coast.
yeah.
Yeah.
Made it to Myrtle Beach, right down the road.
Yeah,
And like you
That's
wait till
crazy.
the rednecks get it to shoot it down. I mean, what are you doing?
yeah, no, that's crazy.
It doesn't
That
even look
is-
like the balloons can fly that high in the sky either. I mean, it's kind of crazy.
Well, you would assume that they with them being heavy, it's kind of like a hot air balloon. If it's not getting more um,
Straight up
hot
helium
air,
in it. It's
yeah,
just straight up
yeah,
helium.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm
So
trying to
no,
remember.
it's
So like, go get us a whole bunch of helium tanks. We got some
I know
shit to
Becky
do.
Evans.
so Tab. Let's talk about this one here because this you said this is kind of up where you're at. Veterans get 3 mental health visits a year for free with VA's new copay exemption. This was published May 29th, 2024 at 3:34 p.m. on military.com by Amanda Miller. It says Department of Veterans Affairs beneficiaries won't have to pay copays for their first 3 mental health appointments of each year, thanks to a new exemption. Meanwhile, patients who paid copays starting in the latter half of 2023 will receive automatic refunds. The VA announced the exemption Wednesday, backdated to June 27th, 2023. When the first refunds will kick in. The benefit also comes with an end date of December 29th, 2027.
See,
I think
I thought mental health services were free. And if that's
Yeah,
not the
you're only
top
saying for 3?
priority,
You're saying
yeah, if
only
that's
3?
if that's not the
Come on,
top
bro.
priority,
3?
and especially with how hard it is to get and find a provider within the VA, I mean, the wait times are atrocious when it comes to mental health. Now, I say that I had an amazing counselor through the VA. I mean, I've actually had 2 amazing counselors, literally life-saving, but the process to even like get a counselor is or any sort of mental health, and why are we having to pay for that? Did we not pay enough and that's why we need mental health? Like we already paid. That's we paid you with our mental health and the trauma that we experienced. The fact that I didn't realize that veterans even had to copay for mental health. I thought that was that you were able to get that.
I think it's by rating, like on how much you're rated. Because like for me, when I go just for my regular doctor visit, I have to pay a copay. I don't have to pay for anything else, but I have to pay for the copay. So even for my mental health, even though I'm going through uh, a civilian side, I community consult, I have to pay for the copay for that as well. Because I'm not not rated yet. So, but I don't
Oh,
know what
okay,
the
okay.
rating level is because they put me on like priority group 6 because I'm not rated.
Right.
So
Right.
I guess it depends on what group they put you in.
Which I
Haunting
kn-
Angels, thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, and which I knew that for physical, but I thought like the whole big push the last few years has been that you can get the mental health care you need through the VA. I mean, I thought that was the big push and conversation when we're looking at
Yeah.
our suicide rates and substance abuse and all of those things. It just
It
doesn't
mind
make sense.
boggles me, and maybe it comes down to there's not enough VA doctors, so they have to go outsource it, and there's probably a lot of uh, non-VA doctors that are having to pick it up because I know I thought it was a while back where Trump made it to where you didn't have to travel far to go get your medical care and all that stuff. You didn't
Yeah.
have to go as far. Like say if you could get your care more local to you, you could switch it up here, not have to drive 50 miles to go get your care.
Yeah, you still have to fight for that very, very hard. And if
Yeah,
it's
you do.
anything,
Right.
yeah, and if it's
Yeah.
anything they consider specialty care, so like women's health is considered specialty care, although like every woman needs it. So explain that to me. They'll try and use that as an excuse to say, well, this is specialty care, so you have to travel to our facilities. Or for when it comes to mental health, and I won't talk too much on my husband's stuff because that's his personal, but like specifically, we were looking at a specific sort of mental health treatment. And the only place he can go is an hour and a half away, and he has to be there in person, and it's multiple hours. And it's like, okay, well, we're not dual income. He is a stay-at-home father. We don't have the ability to spend 7 hours a day for one mental health appointment. That's
Right.
just not feasible. I don't I don't know. Maybe there's other veterans who are a lot financially better off than I am, but like we
No,
can't
and
do it.
we gotta cut those red tape type of things out of the way, and they should be able. We're in an era now that you can have face to face telephone conversations, right? So a lot of veterans don't like to leave their home or don't want to drive super far and wait at some office. So I mean, I don't know why they don't start making it to where it's more of an option where you can have a video call, or if you have to have that touchy feeling and you need a hug, you can come into the office. You know, I
Well,
mean, crazy.
community care is now being taken over by individuals that are coming into our country. They are using our community care, pushing us out so they can, these individuals can have medical care. So that adds
Well,
even more time to the mental health care. And just a story about a VA, I'm 70% for PTSD. But I had a shrink in the ER look at me and said, "There's nothing wrong with you. You don't have PTSD. Suck it up." Just
That's crazy. That's crazy.
And Willis, and I think what the one that like I actually meant to bring up is so Virginia specifically, like when we're talking about state benefits. So Virginia had this nearly 100-year-long veteran program benefit called the Virginia Military Survivors Independence Education Program. It started after World War I. It was essentially where, and I may don't quote me on this exactly, but essentially where if you are 100% disabled or you have died, that your children can go to certain universities within Virginia, essentially like for free or
Okay.
very low cost.
we have that in
And
South Carolina as well.
Texas does
Well-
that too.
well, Virginia under the table completely cut all the benefits with no
Oh.
announcements, no nothing. Saying that it was due to budget, but the budget doesn't come from the state at all. The budget comes from a whole
Federal,
different place.
Right.
The reason was not, and you know, it speaks a lot again when people do these things under the table and they don't have these conversations. So here in Virginia, that's something that is a huge concern with the veteran community, because that was one of the driving forces of why so many veterans moved to Virginia. And so there is a lot around that and not a lot being said, or very hard to find all of the proper information on it. So that is something that like locally is having a massive impact, and it's going to have a massive impact on the state because veterans are going to move. That's the reality. They can have a better quality of life, and their children can have a better quality of life somewhere else.
No, that's crazy, and it will have uh, major ramifications uh, with veterans leaving the state. I mean, that's if they can go if veterans can move somewhere else and have better health care and stuff in other states, they're definitely going to do that. Yeah, it's crazy.
Was that
Yeah,
already assigned by the governor or just by the General Assembly?
No, the governor is the one who signed it and pushed it, and then has been completely silent for his reasonings behind it. So I put some links in our chat, and I'll post them after because it never lets me do it right now. But um, he so it passed the General Assembly. Governor Youngkin signed it. Seeing, I think.
So
Yeah,
it
and
was
I'll put the link with all the more information. And there's a whole advocacy group, and how I saw it, because I will be honest, I don't pay enough attention to my state as I should. I was overly involved in Indiana, and it really wore me down. So when we moved to Virginia, I kind of took a step back. And our local VFW, and this is why these veteran organizations I think are so important, posted about it, and unbiased, right? Because here's again the unbiased thing. Here's the facts. Here's the things, the call to action of what needs to be done. And I'm a huge advocate, especially for like the VFW, who is just so, like, again, non-biased on things. Like, here's the facts, the figures, the things. And if I wasn't involved with them, I wouldn't have. I mean, I eventually would have seen it, but I saw it initially as it was happening, because they always have people monitoring this type of stuff, and they were like, "Whoa."
So if you're listening in Virginia right now and you want to fight this, you can go live June 10th at the Virginia War
Yes.
Memorial, or you have until June 7th to send an email to preservingvmsdep@governor.virginia.gov.
And the
So-
only way you stop it is you got to go out there and make a stand. I mean, the more people that get behind it and not okay with it, you got to be heard.
The link is in chat. Brandon's showing it right now on the screen here. Yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy. So yeah, the link is in chat. It's right here. I just threw it up on the screen. It's right
Thank you.
there. And you can click on that and check that out. Especially if you live in the Virginia area and you're watching this show, you definitely want to go fight that. Write your state representative, write whoever you need to. And honestly, if the governor signed that and it screws that many veterans, that governor doesn't need to be in office next election. So
we
yeah,
also don't know
definitely.
what all else was in that bill that was passed. When that bill was
Yeah.
passed, we're not in that room with that bill that was passed. And it might have been some hog molly stuff that was in there to get him happy to make him
Yeah.
sign that. So it's going to come
And
out.
yeah, and that was part of the conversation too, was then when people were asking, specifically the VFW, they weren't getting answers either. And so again, that's where this transparency, and I just want to make a note, as a federal employee, Hatch Act, elections coming, you can't endorse candidates, you can't like do things like that, but you can talk about the policies and the things they are doing. That
Right.
does not go against the Hatch Act. And so I just want to be clear on that of, you can be involved locally in what's happening without campaigning for somebody and advocating for somebody. You can talk about policies and things of that nature. And so
Yeah.
just want to be conscious of that with, other federal employees who are watching. You don't have to be silent by any means.
Now, do we know if this is going to affect anybody that's maybe already using it? Like they're just cutting it. I mean, if you're mid 2 years into it or something, boom, cut.
So the cutoff date of when people could register was like 4 or 5 days after. And so there were a lot of people who were trying to get their kids registered, but they weren't seniors and they weren't in the program. And it also cuts the way some people were saving it for, like they would go to community college first and then they would use it when they went for like their further education. And now they can't do that. Like they were in the program, but now they can't do that. So from my understanding, those who were in it are fine, but those who were in it but held off on actually using it now can't use it. But again, I'm not the subject matter expert. It's very much like the June 10th event. and getting more involved and finding out is like, that's the call to action right now, is like demanding the answers. I think that's the primary thing, is because there's a lot of transparency not happening, a lot of non-answers to questions.
And the only way that families have to go is you have to be 100% for Chapter 35. So if you're cutting it like that in the state of Virginia, I mean, yeah, some people it's not going to affect, but most people 30% and above. I mean, what are you going to do with your kids when you've been promised an education, or your children an education, and but yet let's put some chains on it. You got to be 100%. You got to be this. You got to be that. I mean, it just doesn't help anybody.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think that, you know, that's the thing too. And so many service members maybe wait to have families or have their kids later in life, or can only, you know, pass their GI Bill to one kid, or so on and so forth. So yeah, there's a lot of factors to it that when you're looking at it, it just doesn't make sense, because having a veteran living in your community is only going to financially positively impact your community, especially disabled. That means you have a certain amount of money that's being, you know, pushed back into the economy. That's why it makes no sense to me why states don't fight for more and help veterans more with getting the disability that they have earned, because essentially it's going to come back into the economy
To
and
the
the community.
economy, yeah.
Yeah. Even if it's, you know, now I can pay for my acupuncture and I don't have to jump through the 20 million hoops. Now I can get the holistic care that the VA can't provide. You know, that money can go into that and into your community. So sorry, I feel like I went off on a tangent, so let me stop and mute myself.
No, you're good. So I know there's a lady. Her husband was a Army veteran. Unfortunately, he became one of the 22, and she's a massage therapist, and she went through uh, the process of getting referrals from the VA. So she's now getting, like, I think she said she started off getting 1 or 2 a month, and now she's getting like 10 or 12, because it's working. They're seeing that it's working. And the veteran, it's free for the veteran. So if they get a referral from the VA that, you know, they need massage therapy or whatever, they send them to her, and she takes care of them that way. And so I do like that. And there's a lot of hidden programs out there within the VA that veterans don't know about, because they're not talked about. Like Brandon Johnston out of South Carolina, Marine Corps veteran, comedian. Um, he went through a program to help him. It's an arts program. I forget what it is, but like he's like a B or C D level actor plus comedian, and he went through the program, and I'm like, dude, I've never heard of that. And so, you know, there's programs out there. You just have to, you know, deep dive on the VA and find the program that's going to work for you to help rehabilitate you, and help, you know, if you want to get like a welding degree and shit like that, or
And use your GI Bill. If you
Yeah.
freaking paid for it, use it. I mean,
Yeah.
gosh damn, don't let it go. I took advantage of it. I mean, definitely don't let that GI Bill go to waste.
Oh yeah,
You can
definitely.
use it in so many ways. Like, I'm
my
actually
gosh,
using
yeah.
my GI Bill for housing to, like, so we moved from Indiana to Virginia because I was able to use my GI Bill and use the on-the-job training as a housing allowance for 3 years with the Department of Agriculture. And so that's not
Nice.
everywhere, but it is
No, but
worth
that's
looking
nice.
to and an option, because we wouldn't have been able to afford to move. I
Right.
have 4 children. I can't move anywhere.
Yeah.
So without that, we wouldn't have been able to move. So yeah, definitely. And there's even state, like, I will say Virginia has a ton of, like, because there's state driven needs. Virginia, not even through your GI Bill, Virginia has programs for different things. Like you were saying, like welding, nursing, like there's a ton of trades and a ton of opportunities that your state VA will pay for even outside of your GI Bill.
Yeah. So let's move on to a little different, not military related, but I thought it was pretty cool. Um, this is the headline: Rivers in Alaska are turning orange. The reason surprised even scientists. Now, this was on CNN World News, published at 4 a.m. Wednesday, May 29th, 2024. It says rivers and streams in Alaska are changing color from a clean, clear blue to a rusty orange because of toxic metals released by thawing permafrost, according to a new study. The findings surprised researchers from the National Park Service, the University of California at Davis, and the U.S. Geological Survey, who conducted tests at 75 locations in the waterways of Alaska's Brooks Range. The rivers and streams in the range appeared to rust and become cloudy and orange over the past 5 to 10 years, according to the study. What do y'all
What
think
you
about
talking
that?
about? What you talking about, Willis?
That's crazy, right?
That's wild.
There's a lot of things that are starting to go around in the world that are like unexplainable.
Yeah.
I just think there's a lot of things going on with change in the weather, change in, just, we're probably going through something and things are starting to, happen that probably were happening a long time ago, or I don't know. It's just, it is, there's a lot of weird things going on around the world. That's
Yeah.
not the only thing that I've heard of.
Well,
So
yeah,
it's
like another weird thing. Iran caused a flood in Dubai.
a flooding.
They caused the flood in Dubai
With their weather,
with their weather.
yeah,
whatever
they have
did.
weather beads and stuff. Yeah.
Huh.
That
Okay.
huge flood that was in Dubai was all due
I do
to
remember seeing
them
that on the
trying
news.
to manufacture weather.
That's crazy. Here's what it says: the discoloration and cloudiness are being caused by metals such as iron, zinc, copper, and nickel and lead. The researchers found some of which are toxic to the river and stream ecosystems. As permafrost thaws and exposes the waterways to minerals locked away underground for thousands of years, we're used to seeing this in parts of California, parts of Appalachia, where we have mining history. This is a classic process that happens in rivers here in the continental U.S. that have been impacted for over 100 years since some of the mining rushes in the 1850s. So this is happening in Alaska, where it's thawing out, and the metals, iron, zinc, copper, and all that have been underground for thousands and thousands of years, and now they're being exposed and turning the water orange and making them toxic. I thought that was kind of weird.
Yeah, don't go swimming in that.
Yeah,
Definitely. I talk about stuff like that on my show. I'm not going to get into it here, but that sounds like a conspiracy theory to me. There's something more to that than meets the eye. But anyway, we do that on my stuff.
And I was going to say, this is the type of stuff that spikes my anxiety so bad. The like end of the world, never ending conversations of just like, at the end of the day, like no matter what your beliefs are, I just can't see it being a positive thing for us not to take care of like our planet and where we live. That just seems counterintuitive to, again, no matter what your belief is, it just seems counterintuitive. But yeah, I don't deep dive into this because my spiral fast.
Travis, you're being awful quiet down there. You got any news that you want to talk about?
News I want to talk about. Wow. I just think that one of the things that came up during Memorial Day weekend is a lot of people I talk to think that we veterans are all set, that I'm taken care of, that hey, you blew out your quadricep tendon 3 years ago. You have an ortho saying it's related to your patella tendon injury in the Marine Corps. Just going to the VA, you're all set, not realizing that records are gone. Got to get buddy statements. You submit all that, and oh yeah, we found your records, and all that stuff you collected doesn't mean anything. And in our state, they are housing illegal aliens. That's what they are, in lieu of housing veterans. If you're a veteran and you need a home in this state, you're not in first place. And people think that when veterans get out of the military, there's a red carpet waiting to employ them. It's certainly not like it was when I got out, but it's not perfect yet. And so I'm asked, and I was asked Monday night, what can be done? Is more needed? Because it seems like we have everything. And I'm like, well, yes, more is needed. Absolutely. I think if, politicians tried last year to say, hey, the VA doesn't need all that money, we can take some of that back. So I think, I'm not like trying to be a Debbie Downer or, negative, but I'm like, man, we have to be vigilant. We do right now where we are. So our younger brothers and sisters have something that they need when they get out. We cannot let our foot off the gas at all. And
So, yeah, and to hit on that as a project manager in life, I know when you don't use a budget, they take it away, right? So
you're not said it's not thank you. Oh yeah, thank you.
Yeah, right.
So I think this is why forums like this are so important. It might be one person out there in some car or on a train station or just sitting at a coffee shop saying, hey, I need to get on this because this is what's going on. And I think this is why this is important for us. So that's kind of my thing. I mean, David, I'm still kind of processing Memorial Day in a lot of different ways, but you would be surprised. Maybe you're not, but I was surprised how many people thought, veterans as a whole have it made here in the United States, that they have nothing to worry about. And I'm like, man, how much time do you have? Because that is not the case. That is not the case. And I don't know about you all. I cannot imagine being a Vietnam era or Korean War veteran trying to navigate the system now, figuring out how to do this alone. And man, we got a responsibility. If some, and I know those guys can be cranky and ornery and cantankerous, but
And a lot of them don't like technology. They don't like. They're not tech savvy, man.
They're not tech savvy. They don't like to be told what to do. So, but we still owe it to them to help them out. So that's kind of where I am right now. I'm just blown away because, again, when I started podcasting 8 years ago, there was none of this. It just, no one else had, gone into this space. So I think it's important we have these forums that we talk freely and openly and we share like this. And so I'm really glad that this is happening and I'm really encouraged by what I'm seeing. So, that's what I got.
Awesome. And you are right. Like a lot of people think that us as veterans, we are set. And I've heard it many times, oh, you're a veteran, you're taken care of. No, I'm not. Yeah, I do get, discounted health care at the VA, but that's about it. I don't get nothing else from the government. Yeah, sure. I paid into my GI Bill and I utilized that when I got out, but we're not set. So
I can promise you at 100%, I traded in a 6-figure income for not a 6-figure income. I promise you, it was less than half of that. So you don't got it made when you go 100%. Yes, there's some things that you might have differently, but you're very limited and you're going to be only here. You know what I mean? And you can't go above that. There's no raises. There's no promotions, there's no bonuses, so you are where you are. And if you don't have dependents and stuff like that, you even go, you're even
I told somebody, I said, first of all, you have to prove, newsflash, that you're an American when you go to the VA. Number one, prove that I'm an American, prove that I served, and then prove that I got discharged honorably. Bad conduct I can understand, but if other than honorable, man, really messes you up. So I got just off the bat. Then I have to prove that I got hurt and understand that. And this is the big problem I'm having, guys. I'm like, wait a minute, how I was assessed back in 1998 and 1999 is way different than how I'd be assessed now for the same injury. And how are you taking a tape measure and deciding that the two aren't related when I have a letter from an ortho saying they are? Well, this is just how we decide. And so you have to prove all these things to even get to the finish line. Now, granted, once I got to the finish line with regard to PT and the VA, I will sing those praises all day long. But I cannot imagine, women have had a hard road to hoe when it comes to getting their care. And like I said before, the guys in my Marine Corps league, they get anxious trying to sit in front of the computer and do something that you and I could do in minutes. So
And they know that. They know that though.
yes,
I mean, they know that they know that we wear out, right? They know, throw a lot of paperwork at them. They hate paperwork. Make them wait. They hate waiting. I mean, all the things that really kind of trigger a person with PTSD or just, social anxiety, all these things, they literally make you go do it every time they put you through some appointment. Like, bro, I left one appointment one time in such a fog that I on accident hit a pedestrian crossing the street.
Mm.
I mean, my mind was literally just so fogged up from this whole. I mean, it just got me all riled up
it's
again.
just a
It
meme,
just,
too. I don't know.
Well,
It's the
and
meme.
I feel like this needs to go out. It's never too late to call 988. If you need to call 988 as a veteran, press 1 for veterans. If you don't like talking, you can actually text 988 and have a little text chat. I have used it before. It saved I would not be here today if it was not for the veteran suicide hotline or the regular suicide hotline. 988, use it.
And Brandon, that's a great point. You don't have to use the veteran one. If you are so fed up with like the VA and all of that, you can just use 988 and you don't have to say you are a veteran.
Right.
And I think that is I'm so glad you brought that up because yes.
right.
So I
And
know
there's a level of trust level with some of the veteran population as well. And that's why a lot of things are skewed. There's a lot of folks that won't go or don't go and refuse to go because they literally, I mean, especially the Vietnam veterans. I mean, how many are probably undocumented because some of them don't even want to admit that they served during that time. Right. So I don't know. Some of that stuff it's kind of hard to look at, but
Well, I mean, we're fighting this right now up here with the PACT Act. It's like, okay, look, maybe you had some problems getting on the VA system because you had Agent Orange exposure, but now you got like a second lease. Let's do this, and God love them. They don't want.
mental health was never acknowledged until probably around the mid 2000s.
Yes.
So before that, there was what's PTSD, right? I mean, all the
I just thought I was crazy
wasn't
when
a
I
thing.
got out. Nobody told me nothing. Like I'm
mental
angry.
health hasn't been acknowledged until the later 2000s. I mean, mid 2000s or whatever.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut in real quick because Miss Tab, she's got to get ready to get off here. She's got 4 kids at home. So you got anything else to say before you have to jump off, sis?
I think I'm just gonna reiterate especially when we're talking about the Vietnam veterans and the older veterans, those of us who are able or have the capacity to make change happen or to demand that, okay, this happened to me. What are you gonna do to make sure this doesn't happen to the next veteran? We need to bear that weight whenever we can, because there's gonna be moments that we can't. But it's not just, in my opinion, it's not good enough that they change something for you. The system has to change. So if you had an issue with something and somebody was kind enough to fix it or do the due diligence, I ask you to ask how it will be changed the next time. In email or in the message through the VA system so that it can be tracked and it can be changed, because those veterans, specifically the Vietnam, they have challenges that we don't have, and it's just going to get more and more technical and more against them. So I fully believe that it's our due diligence to carry whatever weight we can when we can. And I know that we can't always fight those battles, especially when we're fighting for personal care. I mean, that's something that's so overwhelming. But when you can't, ask somebody to come with you and fight that battle, because it doesn't always have to be you, and you never have to be alone for any VA healthcare appointment. Ever. Somebody can be with you, and they can't make anybody leave. So thank you all so much for having me, and
thanks.
See you next time.
We'll see you next time.
Bye, sis. It was great meeting you.
Yes.
And before you go, I just saw this on CNN World. Mexico's next president will be a woman, but violence has overshadowed the glass ceiling being shattered. I thought that was pretty fitting because, for the first time ever, Mexico is going to have a female president, but unfortunately, the violence that's going on in Mexico is going to overshadow her breaking that glass ceiling. So that's I thought that was pretty neat.
I think any time that perceptions can be challenged, that's probably one of my favorite things in the world. Preconceived notions and perceptions, and even my own. And I think the more that we come to actual like equality of things, that the only better that we can be as individuals. We're not all perfect, right? But those type of things need to be celebrated so that young women know, or people who identify with whatever that is, because it's not just women, right? Can have these examples or have these aspirations of like, I can do this and it can happen. And man, I could get on that rant forever, but I won't.
All right, well, you go take care of
Thank you,
those kiddos, and
gentlemen.
we'll see you next one.
Simplify tab.
Simplify.
So yeah, y'all were talking about something. I'm going to play this commercial. I think Brandon saw this commercial the other day. Let's see. So this commercial, I know the thing just overlay just disappeared, but so I was sitting at home, I was watching TV, and one of the things that I always say on home front sit rep is always ask that next hard question. You know, because I can go up to any one of you guys and I say, "Hey, how you guys doing?" You're gonna say, "I'm fine. I'm hanging in there. I'm okay. Living a dream." But nobody ever follows through and asks that next hard question. Anyway, I was watching TV and this BetterHelp commercial came on, and it just struck me. I had to rewind it, and then I played it, rewound it, played it, rewound it, paused it, and called the wife in and said, "Hey, look at this commercial." And it just fits, and it goes into with the 988. So here I'm gonna play it. Yeah, so you definitely have to ask that next hard question of how are you really doing? Because and be ready for that conversation, because that conversation could be a 30-minute conversation, could be a 2-hour conversation. But if you ask that next hard question, you definitely have to be ready and willing to sit there and have that conversation. So yeah. Rich, you've
It's
been
got
off
to be
of
more than a text, in my opinion, too. Sometimes you got to actually reach out and touch somebody,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
and literally hear their voice. And a text, you can't see emotion, you can't hear it, you can't feel it. But talking to someone, you definitely can, right? So,
Yeah, for
I
sure.
just would encourage you to. I know texting's become a norm for a lot of people. A lot of people probably don't know how to even call someone anymore from their phone, but that's the most personal way to actually reach someone and really actually try to understand how they're doing, right? I
Yeah.
mean, the general, hey, what's going on? But if you really want to seek in and find out what they're doing, I just encourage you, say what up. Tell them you love them, tell them you miss them, you're thinking about them, whatever they need to hear, and or just maybe they need someone to talk to for a second, right?
Yeah.
And you just catch them at that moment,
Yeah.
and if you have that urge in your body and you're thinking about someone, act on it, right?
Yeah.
There's so many times where you think about someone and you don't really act on that thought. I would encourage you to act on that thought and make it reality, saying, you know what, I'm not only just thinking about you, I want to check on you.
Yeah.
I would put a warning too, because I've gone down this road. I put my number out in some veteran groups, to take phone calls. My phone's always on. However, when I first did it, I thought I could save every veteran, and I was on the phone, and I forgot about my own mental health.
Yeah.
And I've
So
heard about that quite often, and
Yeah.
and that is a thing, though, especially for empaths, people that are, empath, and you take on what other people's emotions are. You really got to make sure you're cleansing yourself and making sure you clear your mindset, because you just took on their mindset for a second, right?
Rich, you've been awful quiet up there, my brother. What we got going on, friend?
I've been letting them roll there. Like they said, our mental health is. Travis hit the nail on the head. A lot of us say we need help, but don't really go get it, or we need the help and we don't ask for it. If you guys listen to country music or country rap, crap, whatever you want to call it, Jelly Roll just put out a great song, "I Am Not Okay."
Yeah.
Listen to that song right there. Read the lyrics. That defines every mother fletching one of us. Every veteran that you talk to, that song defines male, female, hoorah, hooah, hooah, Air Force, whatever. It's all the same. It affects every friggin' one of us, and we need to stick together. Tab hit it. Travis hit it very hard in the head. It starts local. My book, 13 Step Guide to Success, said the same thing. Start in the mirror. You start in the mirror, fix that problem first. Fix the problem you can see. Then go out to the 50-meter, 100-meter target. Get your neighborhood, get the community. That's what we need to do. That's what this forum is for. Not just to go down rabbit holes, which it's always fun to hear the different views of things, but we need to get that energy into our neighborhoods, into our communities, and then we be the leaders in our local politics, that we can make that change. Or join those organizations like United States Global Leadership Coalition. Get in with them and go see your congressman every June as a veteran leader for your state, and go sit in that congressman's office and say, look, this is what we need. And that's what we need to do.
No,
Hey, just real quick. Any metalheads in here? Anybody who likes metal? Yes. I'm not alone. All right.
Oh
Man,
yeah, I want to get hyped up, bro.
100% death metal. Like I'm a death metal guy. Like,
All right.
There's some really good Marine metal bands out there. You got to go.
Nine
listen.
Realms is
Nine Realms
amazing.
is one of them. Yeah,
Really?
definitely
I'm
go
gonna
check
check
out.
them out
Yeah,
tonight.
Yes.
no, for sure. You're gonna have to. Yeah, they're good.
No,
I'll
Rich.
give you a couple.
Rich, you did hit it right there when it said it starts local. Starts with us. Looking in that mirror every morning. There's a shirt going around right now that says "You are enough." You just have to remember, we might be, as veterans, we might be a little damaged. I don't want to use the word broken because we're not broken. We're a little damaged. But we need to focus on ourselves. Then we need to, like you said, we need to get out there and make waves within our local community, our local government, whether it be the city you live in, and then work to the up to the county you live in, then work it to the state level. We definitely need to do that, and it's going to take a grassroots movement of all veterans, like-minded veterans, to get together to make a change for, like my kids getting ready. My oldest next year, she'll be graduating high school. She's going in the military, and my youngest the year after will be going in the military. So I'm thinking, 20 years down the road, if they do 20 in the military, what's it going to be like for when they get out? So you definitely have to get involved with organizations, whether it be the VFW. If you have a union, they more than likely, if you work for a union, they have a employee resource group or a committee that lobbies in your state government. Because I know my local union, local 3310. We go to Frankfurt all the time and lobby for veterans and stuff up there. And one of my good friends, Don Bramer, with Bramer Group in DC. He's a Navy intelligence officer. Bramer Group does a lot of lobbying for veterans up in DC. So yeah, we need to get, start local, go to the state level, and then go up to DC and fight these battles to help secure veteran benefits and make it more streamlined than the red tape that we got to go through now.
So
Yeah, and not only just for the newer, people getting out, but also, like I told you guys, we're aging, right? And
Yeah.
we're gonna we can fight now, right? We're able, we still got fight in us, but there's a point in life where you might not be able to go out there and fight that fight anymore, right? So right now, why we can fight, I say we fight, and then that way, when you are eventually having to go and receive these benefits or whatever, it's not a fight for everybody else, right? I mean, take that fight out for some of these other people that give up and then they become part of the 22 because they just get frustrated because they keep hitting roadblock after roadblock after roadblock, and before Tab got off, right, she said something exactly right. When we go through something and we have a bad experience, that's our opportunity to say, you know what, I don't want another person to go through this either.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ensure that we make sure that there's another policy or process put in place to prevent this, because I went through hell and I don't want another person to go through that exact same thing. I had something kind of similar happen to me and I just was raising hell because I was like, if I'm going through this, how many people went through this before me and how many are going to have to go after? And I said, we need to stop this because now you guys are really backing up the system by putting so much convolution to it that no one wants to go further. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
Some of these things got to be, and like I said, the only way we can fix it is by us, the ones that are still able to go and fight, is to put up that fight and say, you know what, we this needs to be better. This needs to be, and also, instead of going up there bitching and complaining, we have a solution for them and saying, hey, this is, maybe let's try this. Maybe this will start working.
Yeah.
One thing maybe, David, for next time, if you have me back on, is I'd like to kind of dig into a little bit is employee resource groups.
Okay.
More and more, I'm finding out that, at first it was kind of like, oh, I got another thing to do at work. But over the time, it's become a real powerful way to let your management know what the veteran experience is like. And the cool thing is companies are required to report on how they take care of veterans,
Mm-hmm.
hiring initiatives, and other things. So a lot of us, like I was on a group, and a lady from Caterpillar was on, and Caterpillar, like Home Depot and Pricewater, these senior managers are very interested in making sure veterans were at home there. And what it's done is it's allowed these veterans to teach their civilian employer about the veteran experience and make sure there's another way to advocate. So not now, as I'm going to unpack it right now, maybe in a future date, because it's a really easy way for you to bond with other veterans at your work and make change there.
Yeah. So I work for AT&T, and we have a national veterans ERG, employee resource group, and I'm actually the president of the state of Kentucky for our ERG. And you are right. ERGs within companies, corporations, they are amazing because, for one, but here's a kicker to that too, though. If the veteran doesn't report that they're a veteran and join the veterans ERG, then the company doesn't say, hey, this guy's a veteran or this lady's a veteran. But they are amazing for what they do because, like you said, we do get to help teach supervisors and upper level management on situations, on how to deal with certain situations with veterans when they arise. And then AT&T veterans have changed how AT&T looks at veterans, like, because AT&T went on like a 100,000 veteran hiring spree. Like, they were going to hire 100,000 veterans, and this is over the whole United States. And they hit their target. They did hire 100,000. I think it was like 100,000 veterans or something like that, and they did hit their target. But no, veterans ERGs. If you work for a corporation, if you work for somewhere where they have an employee resource group, and they have one that's dedicated to veterans, you definitely want to look into it. If you're a union, look into the veterans committee within your local. I know Ford has the veterans committee, and CWA, which is my union, has a veterans committee. They have district level as well. So definitely look into those. And if they can help you, they help you. It's helped me. And then I decided to step up to the plate and take the helm for the state of Kentucky. And run with it. We've done the charity golf scramble to raise money. We've done we've gotten involved with Operation Victory, which we rehab homes. There's all kinds of things that we've done within the employee resource group. So no, that's well, we will definitely talk about that next on the next veteran roundtable, employee resource groups, because I got Nick Buss coming up soon. He's with Leaf Homes. He's an Army veteran. When he joined Leaf Homes, they didn't have an employee resource group for veterans, so he created one within Leaf Homes, and now it's a national employee resource group. And he's has since went on and started 2 veteran nonprofits. So I got him coming on, and we're going to talk about what the process was like to start a veterans ERG within Leaf Homes, and then how he got to where he is now. So that's we can definitely do that, Travis, for sure. And you're Brandon, Travis, Brian, you guys are more than welcome anytime we do this veteran roundtable. If you want to jump on, you guys are more than welcome. I'll get some information. I'll put your logos down at the bottom of the screen as well. But it is 8:40. We've had a great discussion tonight, so we're going to do a roundtable, and we're going to wrap this up for tonight, because I know my wife and kids are stomping on the floor because they're ready for Daddy to be done. So let's start up with Rich LaMonica up top. Closing statements, Mr. Rich.
Heck yeah, great meeting everyone. Brandon, Travis, especially Brian. I've already met you. Tab, I know you're not listening, but thanks for hanging out with us tonight. And anyone that's out there listening to us, we may seem like we're getting heated. We may seem like we're getting irate, but we're just passionate. We're passionate veterans, and we want things to change. We want things to keep in the same momentum forward, so that, like we've been saying, the next generation doesn't have the same issues we had. The Vietnam veterans, Korean veterans, they fought their asses off in order for us to have what we have now. A lot of them had nothing and refused to get it. But those who did keep fighting, they made sure we have what we have now. Let's keep this momentum and keep moving forward. I'll talk to you all next month.
All right, Rich. Be good, buddy. All right, Travis, you're up, buddy.
I just want to say thank you for having me on. It's, again, really great to be in this forum where there's all these veteran podcasters coming together and working together, and it just embodies this phrase where you can go faster alone but further together. So I like that we are doing this together to support each other, and also those who need it anywhere they are. So thank you for the opportunity. Looking forward to talking again.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you. Brian, you're up, sir.
All right, brother. Well, hey, I appreciate you inviting me on to the show, man, first and foremost. Also, if anybody out there, you're struggling, don't forget there's a whole bunch of people out there that care. We'd love to hear from you. You always can, email us. Also, there's the 988 press 1. And don't let the day kick your ass. Make sure you're out there kicking the day's ass. All right.
Semper Fi. All right, Brandon, you're up, sir.
Whoa. I need to stop filming in 4K. This is ridiculous. I want to say thank you for having me on. Everybody, it was a pleasure to meet you guys. Thank you for listening to the FNG. We are passionate. You may go into boot camp thinking that you're going to serve the country and fight for the country. After you get out of boot camp, you realize what you're actually fighting for is that brother and sister to your left and to your right. We do get passionate about veteran affairs. It's just because we love we love you, and we want to make everybody needs the help. If you get bored, if you're out cooking out or whatever, go check out www.veteranvoiceradio.com. Pick one of them stations, listen. We've got talk shows coming. We got a bunch. We've got some apps in the works, so you can take us wherever you want to go. But I just want to say again, 988, it's never too late. And I'll give you my quote that I end my show with. It's not about surviving the storm, but it's how you dance in the rain. Thanks, guys, for having me on.
Thanks for coming, buddy. No, man, it's tonight was a great show. We had 3 new co-hosts come on with Brandon Cooper, Travis Partington, Brian Roof. Each one of those guys, go follow their shows. You got Travis with Oscar Mike Radio. You got Brian with Every Day's a Saturday, USMC veteran. And then you got Brandon, who has Shaman Sundays. Is it Shaman Sundays? You got Brandon with Shaman Sundays. go check those shows out. Like and follow. Rich put it out there just a few minutes ago. Like and follow. If you haven't followed the Misfit Nation, go follow Misfit Nation. If you haven't followed the Oath We Took podcast, go like and follow. Conversations with the Vet with Miss Carol Lee. She wasn't here tonight because she was on her anniversary dinner date. So go follow Conversations with the Vet. I Am Pitt's podcast, Mr. Dexter Pitt, who is a Army veteran / police officer in St. Matthews on the beat tonight. He jumps in. He's usually on in his uniform and in his police cruiser, but I wasn't able to join tonight. Triple Threat Vets podcast. Go follow, like, and follow Matt, Al, Ty, Scott. Go follow those guys. They do amazing work as well. The Decision Hour with Mr. Adam Bird. Go follow his page as well with Heroes Media Group. Go follow at Military United podcast streams. Go follow Veterans Voice Radio. Go check it out. And like they said, we're very passionate about what we do for veterans. We love our veterans, and we want to make sure that what we do now will last forever and make a change. So definitely go, follow every one of these pages, because all these podcasters are amazing. They're amazing humans, and they care about the veterans. So definitely. And then I'm just going to end it like I always do on my show, man. Stay safe out there, and I got your 6.